Hey there, Amplifiers. Glad to be here once again as we're talking to thought leaders who help people transform their business to achieve their goals and amplify. Our guest today is a rock star professional who has the background of being a CPA and money expert. She's an entrepreneur, a speaker, and a podcast host. I'd like to welcome to Growth Amplifiers, Deborah Daniel. Deborah, great to have you join us today.
Hey, it's great to be here. I'm really just such a junkie about everything related to business, money, the whole entrepreneurial lifestyle, just where I am in my career after 30 years, I'm starting to kind of think, well, what does this legacy look like? So just all in that space, anytime I can, further the conversation for other people that are on this journey is always a great use of my time.
That is awesome that you're here, you're willing to share, and we're going to get right down to it. You mentioned the journey. On a journey, we have some highs. Obviously, you're a rock star professional. You've got a great brand. You're helping people out. You're speaking. You're teaching others. But you've also faced some challenges on your journey. What was a particular low point or challenge that you faced on your journey, and what did that teach you?
Oh, I will 100%. The biggest struggle for me after literally 33 years is always the team portion. I mean, you cannot scale. I mean, I would love it if I could do all of this work myself. One, I'm not great at all the pieces of the business to begin with. But two, it's just, you can't do it by yourself. And if you're like me, I'm a type A, I want it done my way. And you get too limiting on that, that is a real low point for most businesses. You just hit a brick wall. It's like, I can't do any more by myself. But then if you can't transfer the skills you've taken to grow your business into actually leading and developing a team, you're not going to scale. There's just no way to do it. I mean, there's only 24 hours in a day. Again, there's not all the parts that I'm really good at. Tech is kind of a nemesis for me. I get people around me that are better at it, but it still is my one of my very frustrating things in my life. But you've got to have that team. And to me, that has been, anytime that I've hit a brick wall in my business, it's been because I wasn't prepared enough with the team. I wasn't ready to lead the team. I mean, leading is actually easier to do for me than managing. I mean, I can lead them. I'm very visionary. They kid around here that I'm the step 1 and the step 10. Like it's, I give out the task and that I'm, the number, but somebody's got to do the 2 through 9 in your business. And if that's not your gig, you've got to find the 2 through 9 people. And then layer that on with, 30 years. We had the tech bubble. We had 2008. We had the pandemic. I mean, to survive through all of those things, not to mention the extreme change in technology during a 3-decade. Probably anyone that's been around for 30 years, everything is different. When I was in college, nobody even had a PC. Come on. You went to the computer center to be able to type something. We were happy to have word processors. I'm not that old either.
Yeah, I could remember learning, like as a marketer, building websites, and we learned from like coding the language to developing each little part of the graphics. And now all of that stuff can be done just by, a kid who just has enough wherewithal to read some directions and click some buttons. It's amazing what technology has changed, and AI continues to make it even quicker and quicker and handling more capabilities. So exactly. You mentioned team.
I'm not afraid of AI by any means, but I do think that we need to use it. Too many people are just using it to just like, instead of Google search, like find me the restaurants around me that are, great or whatever, which I am a victim of that as well. But when you really use AI to try to streamline some of your processes, I've been using it just to create SOPs for my employees, help streamline some of my communication. I think it's a great time to be in business, I think, because we have all that at our fingertips. And if we do it right, it can really help us scale, because honestly, the entrepreneurial lifestyle shouldn't be that we're grinding, right? When I got out of college, back, I don't even want to say how long ago, it was all about, work hard, everybody, was working 12 hours a day, and just grinding. Well, now we can have the success that we, had back then with so much less struggle. But I do think that's a little bit just if you've had as we now have like 5 generations, I think, in the workforce, how do you manage people that have a different attitude on that? I mean, because like people my age still have that grinding mentality a little bit, like work hard, work hard, work hard. But then I'm hiring these, I don't even know what generation they're called, but the under 30 crowd, they all want to work at home. They really, hey, I got my work done. It doesn't matter if I didn't work 8 hours. How do you manage those different, really, what expectations for lifestyle is? And I think that's a big problem that businesses have to deal with right now when you're dealing with people that have very different attitudes on what work and productivity should look like.
So you've got something that you've mentioned is coming to that conclusion, because I've hit that reality myself, where it's like, okay, you can only get so far if it's you, and maybe you have some assistance, but you need to build a team that's capable. You need to have the right people that can help grow and expand if you want to grow and expand. What resources or what process or what has been the pivot for you to tackle that challenge? And what advice do you have for people that may be facing that? They've tried to hire people in the past. They've had some mistakes. They've maybe got burnt from it. It is not working out. What's some advice?
100%. I had to look back at one point and say, okay, I cannot only hire people that don't want to work. The only common denominator in these 50 plus people that I've probably hired over the past, 30 years is me. So obviously it's my communication of my expectations of how I want them to do things. And again, leaning into technology, we've started doing Loom videos of how does this need to be done? Because if you're going to have any kind of turnover, you don't want to have to restart that. I mean, honestly, I've kept people in the past longer when I knew they weren't a fit for the business because I just didn't want to start over training somebody again. But if you don't have those, like almost like a manual for this is your job and everything you do. And so now I've started actually having them do, record the processes of what they're doing. So because obviously people don't want to just stay in the same job forever. So you've got to provide some kind of, ascension within the organization or, honestly, the best compliment to me is somebody that leaves here and goes and, starts doing something else for themselves because they've learned so much great stuff from me. But you don't want to be in a lurch when those people leave. Because really and truly, something I heard a long time ago, and I don't remember who the guru that told me is hire slower, fire faster. It's kind of like if you were in a relationship, the first kind of time you think about divorce, you probably should go ahead and do it because it's not going to change. The first time you kind of think about firing somebody, you should probably do it because it's not going to really change. But if you're scared to slot somebody else in because you don't have the processes in place and it's going to take you hours to get them ready to go again, that's a real gap for most businesses. How can you scale when every time a person that isn't even key, that isn't even like one of the key people that's driving the revenue and the sales, but just fulfillment leaves, that's going to stonewall you? That's a real problem in business. And I think a lot of businesses that I deal with, even though I'm mostly talking to them on their money side, obviously when you're getting into people and talking to them about their taxes and profitability and things like that, we start talking about why are things not going the way you want to. And it's not always the money. A lot of time it's the team. And it's the processes that you have and not the sexy part. None of that is the sexy part. Sales are the sexy part, right? But, if you can make all the sales, but then you can't fulfill it, that's the worst thing in the world. I hate that when that happens, when somehow we've got a new client and because we didn't have everything ready to go, we didn't help them fast enough and we lose it. That's the worst thing in the world. That's worse than not having leads,
So with that focus on the team, what has been a practical tactic or habit that has helped you the most when kind of making sure that you're thinking?
Well, I think you've got to engage the clients. Not the clients, but the employees, the team into the vision a little bit more, which I'm good at spreading the vision. But then you also have to break that down. What does that really mean? I may not want to do steps 2 through 9, but I need to let them know what the benchmarks are for 2 through 9. Because most people, I'm a self-starter. I've just always been like that. I've never had anybody tell me what to do. But you can't manage people the way you would be managed, right? You have to manage them differently. There's so many systems out there, DISC, or I know one that's called Bank, or you have to manage to the way people hear the information. If not, it's kind of, I always use this example, it's kind of like the peanuts and, the kids are back there and they're hearing wah, 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 wah. Well, to me, I'm very motivated by, ooh, let's make a big commission, or let's get a new client, or let's, have a big party for it or whatever. Some people really want, oh, I'd rather have some time off or whatever. So you've got to motivate and manage people the way it matters for them. And that's a hard thing to do. Most of us are not given, I have an MBA. I wasn't given 99% of what I do in my business, I've learned by just doing it, not from having a master's degree. Because so much of it is about communication and understanding psychology, both from the sales perspective, both from the team perspective. So really building your own emotional intelligence is really almost one of the most important things to do as a business owner, I think.
I'm a big fan of that. Are you familiar with positive intelligence by chance?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I'm a fan of positive intelligence. I'm an advocate. I went through their program, and what I liked about it is it helped give a tool, a framework to help people see where their blocks are, where their common saboteurs, the thought patterns, the beliefs, the habits that sabotage their success. Because as humans, we all have these natural tendencies, whether it's judging or pleasing or achieving.
Mm-hmm.
The gift that we have, if we overuse it, can work against us. And
100%.
having that awareness of people, having them have that awareness of people, can really help them take new actions so they can achieve new results.
Right.
Are there any tools or processes that you have that you like when it comes to kind of understanding who your team is, or making sure that you're getting the right people in the right seats?
I don't know if you're familiar with this particular methodology, but I at one point was I really got into this one system called Bank. It's by a company, I can't think what, Codebreaker Technology or whatever, but it's really they originally did it as selling technology, like how to speak to your customer.
Mm-hmm.
I personally felt like it had a lot to do with also how to manage your team, because some people, like my husband is he's graduated from, Georgia Tech. He's like an engineer, everything's guarantees and, details and knowledge and all this kind of stuff. Then there's like my admin person who's super nurturing, that is all about let's make the clients feel good, but if you have all people that are like my husband, you're not going to be successful in managing all the things you need to do in your business. If they're all like me, like let's go, let's sell everything, but then we don't have the processes to fulfill, you've got to fill in all those gaps. There's like 4 personality types. It's kind of like DISC a little bit. You've got to really figure out what the strengths are. Like for me to sit at a computer all day long I want to poke my eyes out. I want to, review maybe what other people are doing, but to sit there and actually do QuickBooks, I haven't done that in like 25 years. I have a team that does that. If I had to do that all day long, I would go crazy. So you don't want to slot somebody in like me for that job, but that kind of person could totally be out networking and getting clients. So you really just, I actually make them do the little, there's a computer way to do it, but there's also these cards, and it just talks about values, and you get them to rank what's most important for them. And I could tell honestly, I've been doing it for so long, I could tell from talking to somebody which way they lean. But it also helps with sales as well, because, again, my husband's going to be when we go to shop, people will be like, oh, what do you guys do? And they're like, oh, I'm an engineer, I'm an accountant. They're like, oh my God, the 2 hardest people to sell to. But I'm like, no, not really. I'm not kind of like an accountant. if you tell me this is good, I'm going to buy it. He, on the other hand, you got to give him the guarantees and the, all the little, let me see the fine print and, how many days, do I have to change my mind? I'm like, no, I like it. Let's buy it. So you can imagine what going to buy a car for us is like, but
So,
it's the same with your team, because they're motivated the same way.
So getting into some hot picks, your advisor's picks, is there a book or a podcast or a channel or something that you're kind of tuned into that you would recommend, be like, hey, you might want to check this out?
Oh gosh, I listen to so many things. But I've always, I go back to some of the basics, like I make my team read the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I know it's old, but it's still good. I like Darren Hardy and the Compound Effect. I like Jeff Olson, the Slight Edge. It's all about the real differences are in the margin, not in the big stuff. It's the little things that people are willing to do that make a big difference, right?
It's the Growth Amplifiers. Woohoo!
So wait a minute, I didn't even mean to do that, but it really is true. It's, you can, it's the little stuff, the people that are successful, be it in weight loss, be it in, their career, be it in their money journey. It's the little things that make a difference, not the big ones. I mean, winning the lottery, literally 97% of people that win the lottery are broke within 3 years, but the people that are consistently $200 a month, $200 a month, $200 a month, $200 a month, it's the little things that people do that make a huge difference.
And who are some amplifiers out there in the world that are inspiring you? Maybe they're leading their teams to success. Anybody that you'd care to give a highlight or promotion to? They could be peers, colleagues.
Oh, really? I mean, there's so many people I follow, but I mean, honestly, I'm so busy myself. I haven't really been paying attention. There are people, I'm creating my own content and kind of being a thought leader for some of those people. But one person that I have followed for a while, I love the guys, Kenny. I'm not anti-male. I love my husband and my son, but I do play a lot in the women's business arena, and I do talk to women a lot about money because it is a little bit of a different conversation because we think about it differently than men do. And so I've been a member of a group called eWomen Network. The founder of that is Sandra Yancey. She's all about community, about being profitable. The goal of that community is to make 1 million women making $1 million in annual revenue a year is kind of their what they're trying to do. And it's really sad how few people really do it. I mean, less than 2% of women business entrepreneurs make over $1 million. Sometimes you have to kind of look at that because I'm like, there's a lot of people that I see making, because I do a lot of people's tax returns, making $1 million, but they have like $20,000 in profit. I'm more about what is that profitability. I don't care if you make $200,000 and you have like no expenses, and you make $1 million, but you have $950,000 in expenses. I mean, I'm more concerned about the profitability. But that's someone that I have followed for a while, and I go. I mean, like I'm heading to their conference. I'm actually speaking at that conference next month in Dallas. But just really following. I just really watch a lot of things, listen to a lot of things. I mean, like when I'm in the car, I'm listening to, a podcast or something on YouTube that rather than because Atlanta traffic is kind of crazy. So you never know if you're going to be stuck or not. So I try to keep something queued up to listen to.
So who are your ideal customers? Who are your ideal clients that you aim to serve?
Well, I mean, again, some people, I hate it because I do also, I lead a networking group community, and we talk a lot about, how do you define that? And I hate it when somebody's like, I do so-and-so, and anybody that has skin. I'm like, no, you really want to niche it down. Of course, we can do taxes for everyone, and taxes are not the only thing that we do, but my sweet spot where I am at my place in my career journey is I'm focusing on the entrepreneur, small business owner that's profitable, that it's not, the problem isn't sales. They can bring in the money, but they're like, why is there no money left at the end of the year? Really focusing on what's the profitability. And honestly, reality check, taxes are a big gap for most people because they're not coming to see me or whoever else is doing their taxes. They only want to talk to us February, March, and April. That's too late. It's a historical document at that point, right? I can't really help other than say, oh, well, great, you can make a, SEP contribution or whatever. But like now is when, especially with this new tax law that just came out, now is the time you should be engaging on that because say my average client, say, on a $200,000 net profit for us, S corp or LLC or whatever, I could probably save them $40,000 or $50,000 with a few small tweaks. They don't have to change the way they're doing business. They're just not doing it with what I call the tax rose-colored glasses. Look through that lens. Run your business through that lens. What can most businesses do with $40,000 or $50,000? Either fund their retirement more so than they are, because most are not, or hire another person, or go on that vacation that you deserve because you're my generation. You've been grinding it for 30 years. So it's huge. Those are the people that I'm really looking to serve, not people that are like, I can't even get off the ground. I mean, of course my team will take care of that, but I can't really help somebody like that. I mean, I can help them once they're making profitability. So that's who I'm really looking for. The ones that are like, I got this business thing down. I mean, the sales are coming in, the leads are there. We're having no trouble making the sales, but where's the money at the end of the month, at the end of the quarter, at the end of the year?
I can relate to that as our ideal customers are actually the ones that are doing really good already. And they realize that, hey, maybe there's some things I could be doing that could be doing great. Maybe there's
Mm-hmm.
those small adjustments, those small tweaks,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
they're busy in their own whirlwind. So a fresh perspective can help them see things through the different lens. So if you're tuning in right now and you thought, I've got someone who handles my taxes, if you haven't had a second perspective, if you haven't had someone look at what you're doing and kind of help you see where you might have some blind spots, some bottlenecks, or untapped opportunities, it's my suggestion that you make sure that you connect with someone who has that expertise. Deborah and her team could provide that expertise and could
I
help
think, Kenny,
give you
too, it's really a perspective change for some people because honestly, I mean, I think it's clients and a lot of practitioners are so burnt out with what we call the compliance work. I mean, just getting through tax season, which really kind of drags out for 6 months of the year. I mean, you're super, super busy. February, March, April, then it gets a little quiet for the summer, and then you're busy again for extension season, August, September, October. So most accountants are like, oh my God, I'm so tired. But I mean, so it's not anything against my industry, but there are a lot of people that are just compliance focused, right? They're not,
Right.
I mean, they don't have time. They're burnt out or whatever. And so it's, and clients also expect that you're doing more proactive diagnosing for them when you're only seeing them for an hour at most, doing a tax return, and it's not even the appropriate time for it. It's kind of like going to your doctor and doing some lab work, and then they find that you have cancer and then expecting that they're going to also provide the chemotherapy for you in that same one little engagement. You see what I'm saying? So it's a perspective change that people don't get, that there is a difference between just that compliance work and the planning work, and that there's some obligation on your part to ask your person, hey, what else can I be doing? And can we sit down when you're not, I mean, I call tax season like Black Friday for retail. Don't be coming in and trying to look for your engagement ring on Black Friday. We're busy selling some volume. We'll be glad to go through and look at 45 rings for you for your engagement ring, not on Black Friday. That's kind of what tax season is like. We can't stop what we're doing to give you, tips and tricks and all that kind of stuff when we're trying to get all these tax returns done. And it's not even the appropriate time, right?
Right. Speaking of which, if people wanted to learn more about you, what you do, the value that you provide, where could they go and what should they do?
Okay, well, I put a lot of content out there. I've really been mostly active on LinkedIn these days, just because I had a little hack of my account a while back, and I just haven't started posting back over there again. I did get my account back, which was great. For Facebook and Instagram was impacted by that as well. But all my social platforms are at Deborah Daniel CPA, and we actually have a lot of good content. We've been doing some recordings. We actually did a webinar a few months ago that we're taking snippets of that and putting that out onto social that just breaks it down. What is the tax efficient way I should be taking? What is the, how could I shift income between me and family members? Just little, just to give people, thoughts. Because one, even with my own clients, I have over 1,000 clients. I can't say, hey, Kenny, I was thinking about you particularly today, and you need to do this strategy. I really, that's kind of pushing it onto somebody. Like, they're not even thinking about tax planning. But if you put enough information out there where somebody says, that kind of sounds like me a little bit, then there's more of a pull energy that hey, I saw your video. I want to talk about that particular subject, because I can't know of the 50 different strategies that there are, which one I should be calling you about to talk about today. Does that make sense? So just consuming that information. I mean, to me, information, one, is something that as a business owner, we should be learning all the time. I mean, I have a video, I think, on YouTube that talks about being a lifetime learner. I mean, literally, we have to keep updating our skills. And if a business owner may not like the numbers, and like I said, I play in the women's space a lot, and they all want to, for whatever reason, act like math is something we're not supposed to do. But if you're not focusing on the money part, all the other stuff becomes a little bit, parenthetical. I mean, why are you doing this if you're not doing it to make money? I just lost a dog that I've had forever, but I would have rather stayed at home with my dog if I wasn't doing this profitably. What is the point?
I completely agree. So one of the ways we typically end these videos is you've shared some great information. And if you haven't checked Deborah out her social channels, make sure that you go to Deborah Daniel CPA and check her out. Check out the content that she's putting out there. Learn something, gain some value. So traditional way we end these shows is if you can share something that you've learned on your journey that may be helpful for others on theirs. It can be related to business, or it could be any life experience that just is levitating at this particular moment. What's something you'd care to share as a closing thought?
The reality is I think you have to, all this other stuff is meaningless if you don't enjoy what you do every day. I remember I had a very short corporate career before I started my business in my 20s, believe it or not. And I saw a book back then that said, do what you love and the money will follow. And that has 100% stuck with me. Now, I'm not like, oh my God, I love taxes and I love numbers and I love whatever. But the reality is I treat this business, and I think everybody that's successful should treat this business. It is a relationship business. The deliverable I provide happens to be money services, accounting services, tax services. But the core of my business is the relationships that I've built over 30 years. And that's, if you focus on that and enjoy what you're doing, it doesn't feel like work to me. The thought of retirement does not even really cross my mind. Although my husband's like, hey, we need to start traveling or whatever. But I love talking to clients. Some of them I've had for literally 3 decades. I'm doing their kids, or some of them are like, hey, my parents are getting old and now I'm taking over their stuff. Can you do theirs too? I'm doing multi-generational. If you do what you love, if you build the relationships, the money will follow. And I think that's to me one of the biggest things that's been at the core, I think, of my success. Is I don't really even look at like this customer brings me this much or this customer. It's really about keeping the relationships going and building value on those relationships.
Love that thought. What a great closing thought. And if you're at a point and you realize, I don't love what I do, it's never too late to take new actions and achieve new results. You can always take brave new actions. And if it seems like too much to make that transition, remember, you can just start small. So amplifiers, if you're tuning in, make sure that you think about what's one action, one idea that I could take away from this. Be inspired, take new actions, achieve new results, and keep on amplifying. Deborah, it's been great to have you join us, and I appreciate you and your thought leadership and what you're doing out there in the world, being the amplifier you are.
Thanks.
To show your support, take a moment to amplify this message by sharing it online. To connect with me or gain more business growth insights, visit www.growthamplifiers.com. Thank you for your support.